more for you, you feel it. You know it. This is your life, and it's time to go from contender to champion. This is The Show. John Madsen.
Welcome back to The Show, everybody. I'm your host, John Madsen. This is The Show. Welcome. Thank you for your continued support. I'm excited to be here. Strap on your seatbelt. Today is going to be a great episode. We're going to talk about fitness. After a decade in the fitness industry, I've seen some people wildly succeed, and I've seen a lot of people fail miserably. And in terms of my own programs that I've run, I've noticed some common denominators between those who succeed and a person who continues to struggle. And that's what I want to talk about today. Today's episode is going to be about the power of selfishness. And selfishness is a term that so many people are allergic to. From the time you were 5 years old, if you were selfish, that was a negative connotation, as it should be. If you don't learn to share and you're the kid who's a bully that steals everybody's toys, you would be considered selfish. But as we grow into adulthood, this term, in my opinion, is wildly misused and misrepresented. When I met my wife for the first time, I remember telling her that I'm a selfish person, and I don't think she really understood what I meant. And it's not that I was a mean person. It was that I truly cared and loved for myself before anything else. And some of you listening right now, you might be driving in your car thinking, oh my God, I can't believe John said that. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Because again, we've been programmed to believe that being selfish is wrong. And you've all heard or been on the airplane when they tell you to take care of yourself first. If all hell breaks loose, you put your oxygen mask on before you can help even a child. And luckily, I've never been in that situation, but it's a great metaphor for what I'm going to share today. I do a ton of fitness consultations, and I've done a ton of fitness consultations over the past 10 years. And I've also coached thousands of high school aged athletes, and even younger than that. Here is where I know there's a big problem when it comes to achieving a college scholarship, if it were a high school athlete, or if it's achieving fitness, an elite fitness level, or just changing your health because you need to. Here's where I know a person's going to struggle. At the root of any single thing that you do, there has to be a compelling reason for you to do so, no matter what it is you do. And I go into this a lot on this podcast. 95% of what you do is on automation. Your unconscious mind is programmed you to behave how you're going to behave every single day. So 95% of your thoughts are the same as they were yesterday. 95% of your habits are on autopilot. So you get up and each day blends into the next day, and before you know it, you're living a mundane life. But then you wonder why you can't get out of your own way. Why, when you decide to change, does it work for a minute, but then you always fall back into the program? The program that you're running is faulty, and you have to absolutely learn how to reprogram your unconscious if you're ever going to get lasting change in anything. That's a topic for another day. Today, I don't want to get too far on a tangent. We're talking about the power of being selfish. So this is what it looks like when I have athletes in the past, when I coached thousands of them, I could tell immediately whether or not they were playing for themselves or playing to please a parent. We all want to make our parents proud. All through my childhood, all through my sports, I wanted my dad to be there. I wanted my dad to coach me. I wanted my mom to be there to cheer me on. I don't think kids differ in that desire very much. We all want to please our parents. We all want to make them proud. But there's a big difference of wanting to make a parent proud and actually playing the sport because of a parent. When these kids were playing because of a parent, the parent always wanted success more than their child. Almost out of ego, they thought that the way their child performed on the field or court represented them as a parent. And that style of parenting programmed the child to want to play only to please a parent. There was a huge difference from those kids to the kids who truly wanted to play because they loved the sport and they wanted to be great at it. Those kids had a sense of pride in the way they performed for them, selfishly. The other kids just didn't want to let their parents down. They were afraid of failure. They were afraid to compete. They were afraid to put themselves out there, and they could never truly let themselves go enough to ever reach ultimate success. But this episode is not even about that. It's the same thing. This episode, what I'm about to talk about, is why the people, why you, if you're sitting here listening, have ever wondered why you can't get your fitness in order. Maybe you're 50 pounds overweight. Maybe you just need to lose the last 10 to 20 pounds and you've never been able to reveal a six-pack. You get close, but then you'll self-sabotage yourself all the way backwards. Maybe you haven't done fitness at all and the doctor said it's time because if you don't change, you're staring at disease and a shorter life. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you would think that reason alone would propel a person to do whatever it takes to get their health in order. But I read a book a long time ago. It was referred by Urban Meyer. It was called Change or Die. I can't remember who wrote it. But it was about people who were faced with either changing their habits or dying from cardiovascular disease or whatever. They got that tragic news from their doctor that if they don't do something about their health, they were not going to survive. And then it gave the whole book, the whole preface was why people can't change. Because even faced with that problem, if you've never been faced with that problem, you would think it would be easy to change. But even when faced with that problem, people still had a hard time changing. A huge percentage of people still didn't do what they needed to do. So no matter where you're at, whether you're just a couple months away, whether you're a year away, or whether this whole health change is going to be a 5-year plan, why is it that some people succeed and most people fail? Here's a huge red flag that I see all the time, which is precisely about what this episode is about. There has to be a compelling reason for you to do something. Dying for some people, oddly enough, isn't compelling enough to get them off the couch. For me, every time I do a fitness consultation, I have to peel back the reason you want to get fit in the first place. If you struggle to come up with a compelling reason, it's inevitable that you will fail. Why do you want fitness? Why do you want to lose the last 10 pounds? Why do you want a six-pack? You see, the people who succeed wildly are people who have just gone through a breakup most of the time. and they want to say F you to their ex. We call it the revenge diet or the revenge program or the revenge bod, made famous by, I think, Khloe Kardashian. Revenge bod. Someone gonna get married, females who have to fit in a wedding dress. You've never seen the same female could fail and fail and fail and fail over and over and over and over again when it comes to fitness, but stamp a wedding date on there. I've seen ridiculous change in short amount of time. There's a reward at the end of the tunnel. There's a compelling reason to finally get your ass in shape. Sometimes people can do it for a vacation. That's not as big as a wedding. My point is, when people come in and they have a definite reason, they're way more likely to succeed. Now, if it's a temporary reason, like the revenge bod or a wedding, most likely they'll do whatever they possibly can, fad diet, whatever, doesn't matter, drop the weight, and then inevitably they'll rebound back and be worse off than they were before. That doesn't discount them from the fact that they solved the problem a little bit for whatever reward that they wanted. Now, those reasons are okay. I know that someone's going to be successful in the short term, but I also know that someone's going to be very unsuccessful in the long term if they're doing it for a temporary reason outside of themselves. A wedding, a vacation, to say F you to an ex. What are the other reasons? What's a compelling reason? Because here's the thing, I always make people tell me 3 reasons because I want to know like what their ultimate goal is. So if you were to come in and talk to me on the phone or talk to me in person, I would say, Susie, tell me what your ultimate goal is. And when you really ask questions like that, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, you have to peel back a person like they're an onion. Because the initial answer is like, well, I just want to lose like 10 or 20 pounds and feel good. Okay, I got that, but why? We've been through this on the podcast. There was an episode where I talked about 7 different layers of why, right? So we're not going to get into that. But the point of that episode was that I had to keep digging for the real reason. But people struggle because they can't find the real reason. If somebody asked me, John, why do you go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week? Why do you continuously put 400 pounds on your back, lift 400 pounds off the ground? Why? Sometimes your back hurts, sometimes your knees hurt, sometimes you don't feel like doing it. You already look good. Why? I have a couple different layers of why. Number 1, the way I make money somewhat has to do with the way I live my life. I coach people on how to be their best selves. So I can never let myself go and then try to tell somebody to do something different. That's a compelling reason for me right now. But that doesn't matter. Regardless of my career, I would never fall out of shape. I would never get too far. And I know that because if somebody asked me, John, why do you love strength training? Why do you love to go to the gym? I love it because I got completely embarrassed when I was 16 years old when I walked into the weight room the first time, and I was tall, I was 6'4", I was 160 pounds, I was like a beanpole. And every time somebody said, John, oh my God, you're really tall. For the next 5 years, every time I went to a family reunion, all people talked about was how tall I was. Everybody wishes they were taller, but I wished I was not taller because I was so thin. Being so thin, I was insecure. Anytime the high school had a swimming party or anytime that we had to go shirts and skins playing basketball, I would ball out of control if I had my shirt on. As soon as I took my shirt off, you could see the ribs poking out. Everyone would comment how skinny I was, and I couldn't play ball anymore. I couldn't fucking do it. Because I was so insecure about the way I looked and how skinny I was. Oh my God, that was when I was 16 years old. So now I'm 36 years old, and it doesn't fucking matter one bit if I feel like I'm sore, if I feel like I'm hurt, if I feel like I don't want to feel like it. I'm there every single day because my reason is so compelling. Call it insecurity. Some people talk about fit pros being insecure and that's why they have to stack muscle on. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If you're not loading needles up and sticking them in your body and trying to chase something crazy, does it really matter that I've built my body up and buried that insecurity so that every time I walk out the door, I feel like a fucking champion? Doesn't matter. Because some will say the fitness industry is all about insecurity. Maybe they're right. Because when I was 16 years old, I was insecure. But guess who's not insecure now? I walk out that fucking door every day with certainty. We go to the beach on vacation, I take my shirt off and watch people's heads turn like, who the fuck is that? I'm 36 years old and people still come up to me at the grocery store and say, dude, like, what do you play, man? Where do you play? I don't play. I haven't played for a decade, but I stay in fighting shape. What type of certainty does that give a person? And here's the topic of today's show, though. I don't do it for a single other person on the planet but myself. So when I do consultations, I get answers all the time that they want to get in shape because they want to be around for their daughters. They want to be around for their sons. They want to be around for their kids. They want to do it for their wives. They feel insecure around their wives, whatever it is. They want their wives to be proud of them. They're doing it for somebody else, just like the high school kid who's trying to do it for the parent. Every time, it doesn't matter how far a person has to go or how gloomy their outlook is and how much they absolutely need to change. If that person gives an answer and says that they're doing it for somebody else other than themselves, they're fucked. Right from the start, I know they're fucked. Because their priorities are fucked. Because to them, being selfish is unimaginable. To do something for their own self is unimaginable. How many mothers out there cannot fathom doing anything for themselves? Everything is for their kids. Everything is for their husbands. Nothing is for themselves. They can't even imagine doing something for themselves. If they have a friend who does something for herself, they want to talk shit because they never do anything for themselves. It's unimaginable to do something for yourself. These people struggle. They struggle with insecurity. They struggle with doubt. They struggle with hopelessness. They struggle with depression. They struggle with anxiety because nothing they do is for them. So when I told my wife when I first met her that I'm selfish, I meant that I'm a selfish motherfucker. Now I have a beautiful daughter that I would do anything for. Anything. She's my life. She's my love. She's my angel. She's my everything. I love my wife. But guess what I don't do fitness for? Them. I go to the gym to bury that 16-year-old kid every fucking day. And what does that give them? That gives them my best. Because when I'm certain and I'm confident and I feel great and I have energy and my cup is full from myself, everybody in my life gets better. Everything gets better. My energy is better. My mood is better. My performance at work is better. I make more money. I give more love. All because there's things in my life that I'm so selfish about, you cannot get in the way. Fitness, 4 to 5 hours per week, you can't touch that for me. Business meetings, busy days, friends flying out of town, like it doesn't matter what it is. I am not going to move the workout. Yes, every once in a while that happens. But the difference is for most people, that shit happens every week. A meeting gets bumped up, this happens, that happens. Next thing to go is your workout, you're fucked, you can't do it. But that's an every week thing. For me, something might come up and I might have to miss one of the workouts. Life happens. But guess what doesn't happen every week? That. Every week, I am taking so much care of the thing that I care about, my health, my energy, my vitality, my performance, my strength, my manhood. Like, that is mine. That is mine, and nobody can touch it. That's why I don't struggle with fitness. That's why I can't imagine doing it any other way. But as a coach, and understanding and really listening to a person's language patterns, a person's answers, that first consultation is telling, man. When I get answers that they're doing it for somebody else, it sounds good. Like they want a pat on the back. Oh my God, you're the most unselfish person in the world. You deserve a medal because you take care of every single person other than you. And therefore, every other person isn't ever getting the best you. I want this message to punch you in the face if you think being selfish is wrong. Yes, there are times and instances when being selfish is just being an asshole. But when it comes to you and your health and your body, if you don't take care of you, nobody else can, and you can't take care of anybody else. It is your duty to be the best you, as a father, as a man, as a mother, as a wife. It is your duty to take care of you selfishly. So next time you think about why you're going to do something or why you want to get fit, if the reasons you come up with don't have 100% to do with you, remember this message, because you're not going to succeed until you can find a compelling reason for you to do you. Please, if this message punched you in the face, if it made you mad, if you think that it was the perfect thing for you to hear, reach out to me, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. Please, the only way this show grows is you sharing an episode that hits your heart. I hope this episode, if you're struggling with fitness, will do that for you. Because this is a simple fix. You have to dig deep into your heart and understand why you want fitness in the first place and why it's important. In the grand scheme of things, being selfish is actually the most unselfish thing you can do. Because when I give my best for myself, everybody else reaps the rewards. Think about it like that.
Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of The Show with John Madsen. The greatest compliment that you could give us is liking, loving, and sharing this episode with all of your friends. So please go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and then share it online with everyone that you know. Make sure to tag John as well. He loves to hear from listeners of the show. The links for all of his socials and iTunes are in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to engage John for anything related to his coaching, consulting, or programs, please visit johnmadsen.com for everything you'd need to know on how to engage with John offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Show.